What happens when you put one of Hollywood's most intense actors across from a morning show host who thinks he's in control? The rest of the interview isn't an interview anymore. It's an implosion. And trust me, you'll want to stay for this one because this doesn't just escalate. It snowballs into something much, much more. Picture this. Tom Hardy, calm but observant, sits opposite George Stephanopoulos on Good Morning America, ready to discuss his newest project. But something in the air is different. The room is tight. The air crackles with an unseen energy, like a storm brewing. Stephanopoulos beams that practiced morning show smile. Tom, great to have you with us. The reviews on your new film are phenomenal. But before we get to that, I wanted to address something else. Right there, everything changed. Hardy shifts in his chair, a barely perceptible movement, but his jaw tightens almost imperceptibly. Sure, George. What's on your mind? He asks, bracing himself. And then it lands. There have been some controversial statements about method acting and mental health attributed to you. It's being suggested by some that you are being irresponsible with the conversation. Pause here for a second because this is the tipping point. Hardy's demeanor shifts in an instant. His eyes narrow, a predatory glint flickering as he assesses the situation. This isn't the interview he came for. Irresponsible, he repeats, his voice smooth but laced with an unmistakable edge. That's a bold choice of word. Would you care to elaborate? Stephanopoulos leans in, buoyed by his own confidence. Mental health advocates are concerned that you're almost romanticizing deep dives into dark psychological spaces for roles. Hardy doesn't flinch. Instead, he leans in himself. Are you concerned, George? Or do you just echo those people? His accent sharpens, cutting through the tension. It's my job to ask questions, Tom, Stephanopoulos retorts, pushing back. What message do you think you're sending to younger actors who look up to you when you describe these extreme methods? And then, nothing. A deafening silence hangs in the air, palpable and heavy. You can feel the tension through the screen. Something's about to snap. Finally, Hardy speaks, his voice low and deliberate. Parents should be worried about morning show hosts who fail to do basic research and then choose to ambush guests with loaded secondhand questions. Oof, that hit hard. For a fleeting moment, Stephanopoulos' practice smile falters, just enough to betray the fact that control has just shifted. Tom, I don't think that's a fair assessment. We're trying to have an honest discussion. And then, a short, cold laugh escapes Hardy. Honest? George, if this was about honest dialogue, you'd have briefed my publicist about this line of questioning. You'd have come to the interview with actual knowledge, not just scribbled talking points. At this point, the question becomes, who is really in control here? But our viewers deserve answers, Stephanopoulos insists. Your viewers deserve better than this, Hardy fires back. This isn't an interview. It's gossip mongering disguised as journalism. The subtlety is gone, replaced by raw confrontation. George, Hardy continues, his voice steady but unwavering. When was the last time you actually researched method acting? When was the last time you spoke to a professional about the ethical boundaries of exploring dark emotional spaces in a controlled environment? The dynamic has completely reversed. Stephanopoulos scrambles to recover. Tom, you're becoming defensive. The word defensive is the final trigger. Defensive? Hardy's voice rises with genuine incredulity. George, I woke up at 5 a.m. to come here and discuss a film I've worked hard on. Instead, you're trying to create some sort of viral gotcha moment with out-of-context sound bites. That's not defensiveness. That's a basic level of self-respect. The pressure mounts. Well, the quotes stand for themselves, Stephanopoulos states, trying to regain some authority. Do they, though? Hardy pounces on the opportunity. I'd be interested to hear them, then. Exactly how were they worded? Can you cite any sources? The studio suddenly feels claustrophobic. Stephanopoulos fumbles for his notes, glancing up briefly before looking back at Hardy. Well, there have been several interviews. Several interviews, Hardy repeats, his tone drawn out. But you can't name a single one, can you? You can't provide a date, a publication, or a specific quotation. The focus is no longer on acting, it's on the host's credibility. Tom, let's get back on track, Stephanopoulos pleads, trying to steer the conversation back to familiar territory. Hardy holds his ground. No, George, this is the track. You've made accusations of irresponsible behavior, of potentially harmful influence, and you have absolutely nothing to back it up. That's not journalism. That's character assassination. And in that moment, the entire interview hangs precariously in the balance. Visibly flustered, Stephanopoulos attempts one last move. I have all the information right here. Hardy leans in, his eyes locked on Stephanopoulos. Then read it, he says. And there it is. The edge of the precipice. Tell me the verbatim quote, Hardy probes, his voice cutting through the tense air. The quote that's made you so worried about my influence over young actors. All eyes are on them now. Stephanopoulos fumbles with his papers. It's as though he's watching the moment slip out of his grasp. A bead of sweat forms on his temple, his usual poise starting to crack. It's not the specific quote that's important, it's the pattern. And then, Hardy interrupts him again. The quote's not important. Hardy's voice rises, subtly but effectively, shifting the entire dynamic of the conversation. George, you've spent 5 minutes questioning my integrity, based on something you claim I said. And now it doesn't matter what the words actually were. Think about that for a moment. How do you defend yourself against an accusation that no one can even define? That's not what I'm implying, Stephanopoulos attempts, trying to salvage the situation. Then what are you implying? Hardy fires back. You can feel it from your seat. This is no longer an interview. This has become a full-blown confrontation. Because from where I'm sitting, George, it looks like you've brought me onto your show under false pretenses to ambush me with accusations you can't even clearly state. The studio falls eerily silent. Crew members exchange uneasy glances. The camera operators seem unsure whether they should stay on them or pan away from the unfolding drama. Sensing the heat, Stephanopoulos tries to shift the topic. Tom, about your new film. But Hardy is not letting him off the hook. No, George. We're not moving on. Hardy's voice is firm and unwavering. You've spent the last several minutes attacking my performance with claims based on clearly incomplete research. You owe your viewers an answer. At this point, ask yourself, what happens when someone refuses to have their narrative manipulated? I think we need to change the subject, Stephanopoulos insists. I think you need to answer the question, Hardy counters immediately. You mentioned mental health advocates. Name me just one, please. Name just one single individual who has publicly criticized my method. Suddenly, the pressure ratchets up. There have been various articles, Hardy repeats, leaning forward ever so slightly. No names, no quotes, nothing concrete to point to. This is the critical moment. Do you realize, George, that what you're doing is precisely what you're accusing me of? Hardy asks, his voice now lower, but more cutting than ever. This strikes a chord. You're damaging my reputation based on conjecture and unsupported claims. That's not the same thing, Stephanopoulos pushes back, though his voice lacks its earlier conviction. Isn't it? You've stood there and told millions of viewers that I'm irresponsible, that parents should be worried about me. And you have no evidence to support this whatsoever. The camera captures Stephanopoulos looking flustered and confused, scrambling for a response. We have producers who look into these issues. Your producers, Hardy echoes, a hint of incredulity in his tone. He pauses for a moment before continuing, his voice calmer yet more pointed. George, how long have you been working in journalism? That's not relevant. I believe it is, Hardy replies. Because right now, what you're doing is not journalism. The air in the studio becomes palpably heavy. That's gossip. That's lazy, irresponsible reporting. And frankly, it gives real journalists a bad name. Stephanopoulos' face flushes red. I don't appreciate the way you're speaking to me. And I don't appreciate being ambushed on live television by someone who couldn't be bothered to verify their information, but we are here. The clash has become undeniable. We invited you as a guest. You invited me to talk about my work, Hardy interrupts, and then proceeded to grill me based on what appears to be fabricated information. That's not guest treatment, George. That's entrapment. The tension in the studio is so thick, you could cut it with a knife. Everyone is on the edge of their seats. I believe you're overreacting. Overreacting? Hardy's voice drops to a whisper, but it's more intense than ever. You've accused me of causing harm to young actors. You've insinuated that I'm an irresponsible influence, and you have absolutely zero evidence to support this claim. What exactly is the appropriate reaction? The question hangs in the air. These are very real concerns about celebrity accountability. Based on what? Hardy interrupts again. Give me one study. Give me one expert. Give me one scrap of anything beyond what your producer has vaguely told you about something I might have said about something I might have done. The facade is crumbling. These concerns have been voiced in various publications. Various publications? Hardy repeats slowly. Do you hear yourself? That sounds like every politician who's caught in a scandal. Sources say. People are concerned. These are pathetic excuses for not backing up your claims. I'm not making things up. Then prove it, Hardy snaps. Right here, right now? Give me one example. Time seems to stand still. Stephanopoulos shifts his papers, glances at the camera, looks back at Hardy, completely cornered. There's no escape. I think we're running out of time. No, Hardy says firmly. I think we're spending exactly the right amount of time. You've made some serious accusations, George, and now you're trying to sidestep them. I'm not sidestepping. Then stop evading, Hardy says. One name, one quote, one piece of evidence. The suspense is unbearable. Sweat is dripping from Stephanopoulos' forehead. Our research team gathered information from several sources. Your research team, Hardy repeats, drawing out the words slowly. And at that moment, you know it's coming. Collated information, Hardy repeats, his tone sharp. George? That's not an answer. That's corporate doublespeak. And that's when the tension ratchets up again. You're hiding behind your researchers, Hardy continued, just as you're hiding behind anonymous critics and vague pronouncements of concern. I am not hiding behind anything, Stephanopoulos insists. Then defend it, Hardy retorts immediately. Either concede that you do not have the information to support your assertions, or provide it. You cannot do both. The tension is now palpable. Stephanopoulos looks off camera as though expecting cues or producers or something to signal him out of the pit. He's offered no help. Tom, I really think our viewers would be more interested in discussing your latest film. Our viewers deserve better than that, Hardy interrupts again. They deserve hosts that conduct proper research. They deserve journalists who stand behind their questions with evidence, not hiding behind weasel words and anonymous sources. This is a very aggressive line of questioning. This is precise questioning, Hardy states, in a voice so calm and cutting it could freeze over. There is a distinct difference. You leveled severe accusations against me. You're upset that I am challenging you to back them up. This isn't aggression, George. This is accountability. Take a beat. This interview has officially spiraled. The audience is transfixed, anxious, but riveted, as though witnessing a behind-the-scenes peek they weren't supposed to get. Stephanopoulos tries again. Tom, I'm confident we can have a productive conversation. We could have had one, Hardy snaps. Had you simply questioned me honestly about my work, instead of attempting to manufacture a sensational headline for a viral clip. That was your choice, George. Let's continue then. And at this point, there is no going back. One last attempt. I do understand that this is important to you, Stephanopoulos concedes, but you must admit that celebrities have a responsibility to speak carefully when they address matters of sensitivity. Hardy waits a beat. He stares. Then he replies, his voice cutting through the entire room. They absolutely do, George. A short pause. Just as journalists have a responsibility to their viewers, and as hosts have a responsibility to prepare, and networks have a responsibility not to let their standards slip beyond a basic modicum of journalistic ethics. I assure you we maintain very high standards at ABC News. Do you? Hardy replies sharply. Because at this very moment, our viewers are watching you make accusations you cannot substantiate, ask questions based on research you have not conducted, and fail to be accountable when you are challenged. Is that ABC's standard? Allow that to resonate with you for a moment. Stephanopoulos is visibly faltering now. Tom, this is being very difficult. Difficult? Hardy inquires with disbelief. I am being ambushed on live television with accusations I cannot back up, and I am the problem for asking questions? What precisely were you expecting? I was expecting to have a conversation. Then you should have acted professionally, Hardy retorted. You should have done your research, asked proper questions, not this tabloid-level attack, not this attempt to create some kind of scandal. The interview is no longer merely intense. It is spiraling out of control. Stephanopoulos looks around desperately, clearly hoping that the producer or someone, anyone, will intervene and cut to commercial. Tom, I think we are about out of time. Now we're out of time. Hardy leans forward, his voice laden with sarcasm. After we've spent over 10 minutes trying to destroy my character and, in doing so, perhaps alienating millions of viewers to whom I'm a dangerous, malevolent influence? Now we're out of time. We are running out of time. We are running out of time because you chose to waste the available time, Hardy interrupts. That was a choice, George. The studio falls completely silent. Even the hum of the camera seems amplified. Tom, I really wish you would tone it down. Tone it down? Hardy repeats, his voice dropping back to an intense whisper. You attack my character and my integrity on live television, and you tell me to tone it down when I defend myself. Are you aware of how insulting that is? I am attempting to have a civil exchange. There is nothing civil about being attacked, George, Hardy counters, a bitter laugh escaping his lips. There is nothing civil about making assertions and trying to damage a guest's reputation for whatever reason that you have. The carefully constructed facade of the interviewer has collapsed. Stephanopoulos is visibly sweating, clearly unsettled. That is not what this is about. Then what is it about? Hardy presses. Explain that to our viewers. Explain why I have been brought on here under false pretenses. Explain why you felt it was appropriate to accuse me of this with absolutely no evidence to support your claims. Explain why you seem to believe that repeating gossip is a worthwhile form of journalism. We are discussing the significant influence celebrities wield over public discourse. No, Hardy interrupts. You have fabricated an argument. You are creating drama, and you are doing so for no other reason than a rating stunt. The interview has reached a breaking point, and just when it seems like it can't get any more intense, it does. And when you are challenged, you resort to vague platitudes of celebrity responsibility or the larger issues. What do these words even mean when you can't back them up? Hardy pressed, his voice unwavering and forceful. We cut to Stephanopoulos, and it's an undeniable shift. The smugness is gone, replaced by someone trying to regain control of the situation. But Hardy's not done yet. George, let me ask you something, he says, leaning in again. Do you have children? That's not relevant. I think it is, Hardy interrupts. Do you have children who are potentially watching you tonight? Are they observing how their father behaves as a journalist? A tension, thick and palpable, fills the room again. Because if they are watching, what are they learning from you right now? Hardy continued. Are they learning it's okay to throw around accusations without evidence? Are they learning that what you're doing here is journalism? Or are they learning that when you're cornered, you tell people to calm down and just move on? Let that sink in. Because there is no easy answer to that. Stephanopoulos, already losing his grip, looks off camera, practically pleading. Tom, I think we need to take a short break. A break? Hardy repeats, incredulous. He physically leans forward, his energy building. George, you can't take a break from accountability. You don't get to make serious accusations against somebody on national television and then walk away when you're asked to answer for it. And then, the most shocking turn. Security! Stephanopoulos yells. Wait, what? Hardy's face shows complete disbelief. Security! He says, astonished. You're calling security on me for asking you to stand by your own question? It's all spiraling now. You see movement on the edges of the frame as security guards are coming in. The vibe in the room has officially shifted from intense to utterly surreal. This is just incredible, Hardy says, shaking his head. He then turns not to Stephanopoulos, but to the camera. This is what modern journalism has turned into, he states, looking directly into the lens. When you call security because you are called out for your lazy research and unfounded claims, this is where we are. Think about that for a moment, and think really hard about it. Tom, calm down, a security guard says, approaching him. Calm down, Hardy says, bewildered. I'm sitting here calmly and clearly stating things and asking that you back your own questions up. What on earth do you expect me to calm down from? Backstage, it's apparent that Stephanopoulos has completely lost control of the interview. Get him off the set. On what basis? Hardy doesn't budge. For asking you to cite evidence, he says. For demanding professionalism. Then, very slowly, deliberately, Hardy stands up. This is just incredible, he says under his breath. Remarkable. The studio is completely silent. I was brought here to discuss my film, Hardy continues, and I'm now being removed for requesting basic journalistic standards. He turns and looks into the camera one final time. Mark this moment. And with that, he walks off. Not pushed, not forced. On his own terms. He leaves behind a stunned studio, a silent audience, and a host who seems completely rattled. The camera holds on Stephanopoulos, still gripping his papers and looking utterly disheveled, for a few agonizing seconds before cutting away abruptly to an unannounced commercial break. And just like that, TV history has been made. What do you guys think? Did Tom Hardy make the right choice here? Was he out of line, or did he stand up for something important? One thing is for sure. This was more than just an interview. It was a power play. He completely turned the script on Stephanopoulos and gave us all a rare peek behind the curtain of live television. If you find moments like these fascinating, you should consider subscribing to the channel and dropping your thoughts in the comments below. Which one of these moments had the most impact on you?